already in there. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I and Lee, and of course, there are some other representatives of GPMS as well. And so we're going to have a conversation on why GPMS and any questions of why GPMS, we will attempt to, or we will, I will say, we will answer them all. And also, if there's any questions, why GPMS, any questions, perhaps leave them towards the end. So if you have questions on it, just jot them down, write them down, and we'll open up more to a question and answer period at the end, towards the end of the interview, wherever that may be. And having said that, again, some more just joined, so I'm keeping your mics muted. And if you wish to speak, you just raise your hand, and I will see it, and then you can come on and speak. So any questions, we wish to keep them towards the end, unless they're important, let's say with a perspective and a comment. And then if you have a question that could help assist and steer the conversation as well. Anyways, I don't need to make it complicated. Okay, so we're good to go. So I called this promptly and asked Lee, to join. And again, it's because of it's time to do so. So why GPMS at this time? What first I'd like to touch on. So, like Lee, we're not doing this for money. We don't really get any monetary benefit out of it. So this means the intent is genuine. It's not to profit. It's not for ourselves. We don't need this. We're able to manifest, if you will, in the world as it is. Our ingenuity means we can navigate through a very chaotic world easily. So it's not about the self. What it is, it's about the whole. And this is why so many of the light ones and awakened ones have been put on the planet. Your awakening is not by chance at all. And you know that there's a process that you first go within, and you could say that's a selfish process, but in a good and important way, for you have to pay attention to self so that you're able to be selfless and assist with others. So having said that, Lee, there is per se for this is not a paid job for us or anyone. So I know your beautiful explanations and perspectives is good.
Yeah, I mean, where to start really with this? The amount of falsities that we are living in, the inhumanity that we exist in, and purport it to be real, is incredible. Once you see past it, once you see through it, once you see the gaps through it, then I believe that the vast majority of individuals do want to express this to other people, to actually explain to them what's going on and move them out of their own suffering. So the empathy side of it really comes in a little bit to this, is seeing the suffering that's going on, having felt it, etc., myself and with everybody else. We don't want that to be transposed into future generations or into everybody around of us. So even without the GPMS model, once the lies are seen through, then we can just start with those. This isn't true. That isn't true. This isn't true. You shouldn't be doing that. Or are you sure about that? Those sort of questions were asked prior, and now we're at this point where really we're on the cusp of a complete and utter breakdown and change of what was into what will be. And seeing through the problems and seeing through the issues and seeing them without even the solution it's a pull from the inside. I'm sure that many people feel that, or many divine souls feel this pull from the inside to help others. Well, how do you help others? We all know that it's very difficult to actually make somebody see something that they're not willing to see. But that again changes when you can change the environment that everybody is in. So as each problem has appeared to me, anyway, in my mind, the solutions have come past that, whereby even if people can't actually see the problems for themselves at this point, there is still a solution on the other side of it. And that environmental change, the whole thing that GPMS would bring about would be the environmental change for them to go past that point with the collective. So without going into too much detail, I'm sure I'll follow the conversation and make it more relevant. For me, it's much more about an inner calling to actually do something that's of benefit. I want complete and utter abundance and freedom. And as I said in the interview yesterday, why shouldn't I want everybody else to have that too? So for me personally, it's much more of a case of giving this vision and this solution and this instrument to move forward to everybody, as opposed to me, and also take into account the free will of everybody else as well, their choice. What do they want, and what will they want, even if they don't think they do now? So adding in that part of it, not giving it, not designing it, but just saying, look, this is it. So that's what I'm drawn to, brother. And I'm sure, again, we'll break that down into different sources and different parts as we go through this conversation.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Lee. Right at this point, I'd like to touch on, in the past and even today, there's great philanthropists, humanitarians, entrepreneurs, even, with their genuine intent to assist humanity. And of course, there's many other, what I call goodwill ventures. But with all of those, it does not have the impact that it should. And when I say it does not have it, again, I like to grab the 15,000 children dying daily of starvation, all of the poverty. Even though these individuals have a good intent, it seems it's the system that keeps them restricted from helping all. And it is the old system that is savage, that restricts everyone with ill intent. And really, it is inhumane and it is savage. And there is no reason that humanity needs to live in that type of an environment. As we said, the planet is abundant. It's the control of that abundance that causes the intentional deprivation to everyone. And, especially with money, when it is created out of thin air, there should not be any wealth disparity, no inequality. Again, these are savage things. And, humanity has evolved beyond that. And this great awakening is awakening so many to that. So you ask, why GPMS? Well, now is time for it. That the decisions are being very quickly made in every moment for ones not to support the old systems, the old governments, and to look for a new hope at least. But with the GPMS, again, it's so simple. It's not just a new hope. It is a very obtainable reality right at your fingertips here in the near future. And it just requires the unification of everyone with one voice. And that changes the world.
What's become obvious to me over the last, again, we can still going back to the same sort of things, is how undervalued or devalued thinking seems to be when you actually propose absolute abundance and what has been termed utopia. Again, these words are limiting. Utopia is something we can't reach. Well, that's not true. It's just a word that is a limitation that says we can't get there. What is utopia? Utopia is just a different perspective on every individual would have a different perspective of that and a different reason why it can't be obtained. But the fact is that a civilized and humane society would deem every living soul equal and not charge or force or impose slave regimes upon those individual souls from birth. That's just humane, and that's just civilized. It's not utopia. This is where we get a little bit wrong with it in our thinking, I believe, in saying, well, that's a utopian or that's whatever. And it's not. It's just a humane, civilized society. It's moral and ethical. And we all know that deep down inside. The problem we've got is that we all put in reasons why it can't be. And this is the difference at this point, is seeing through all those reasons and seeing those limitations and feeling them and saying, well, why am I thinking that? What is really humane and what is really civilized? And is that abundance, and is that freedom, and is that complete equality, transparency and truth? And I think most of us can answer that question and say, well, yes, that's what we would like, but then we put in the but we can't. Well, let's take the but we can't out and start thinking about that and start coming together on that and then seeing where we're going. So this is the thing about sharing this and going with this. Once you see past that and once you see into that, yes, we can. I have no ability not to be that authentic and say, no, if I'm the only one to stand, well, I'm not the only one to stand in there, but there's a lot of us going to be standing there and saying, this is not good enough. We still want that. And that's what GPMS is. And we won't stop until we get that sort of thing. And of course, it doesn't benefit us individually. It benefits as a whole. And we know there's no thanks for any of this, and that's fine. It's not about being thanked or being recognized. It's just about, this is real, this is true, and this is the truth. And if you're looking for the truth, then you have to go that sort of way to purity. So that's, again, I'll add that bit. You're muted, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Yeah, someone has their hand up. They do not have a name. It looks like 2 dashes. So I'll let you speak for a moment. Okay, so you're allowed to speak.
Hello, Rick. Hello, Lee.
Hello.
This is Pedja from Serbia. I see you these days, and I be able to listen what you said, but I don't understand one thing about it. It's about a few years ago, before everything is start. But I don't know what is point of day when come this arrived. It's point of this the global fifth billion money when USA it's print of all cities of government of the world because this virus or it's a new era of living better, that gold living life becomes arrived. I don't know point of the GPMS because I don't know sure it's when it's that is correct and when it's B. Because I again say a few years ago I listen and I watch you follow, and I want to know about it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll say a little bit, and then I know Lee can answer that. Well, what we're doing, and I forget, what was your name? I was speaking from, what was his name, Lee?
I didn't catch something from Serbia. I didn't catch the whole name.
Yeah, okay. So again, it's for ones to understand what GPMS is, and the first thing that we do is direct ones to the website and just look at it again as a choice. And you're asking why it's occurring, if you will, and why at this time. And, that is the title of this. It's happening at this time because really humanity needs to know they have another choice amidst of all of the chaos and the confusion they need a direction, and they also know that things have to change. So GPMS is the inclusive new reality, new society uh, for humanity. And things, as you know, you're from Serbia, the war-torn, one of the war-torn areas, you know, including Bosnia and all of that area. So you know how uh, with the great country Yugoslavia, even if we wanted to go back in history, but I will not. You know, that was one of the most advanced countries, and with the Ottoman Empire to go back in there, it was a threat to the future. And that's why with Yugoslavia, there was what you would call trickery put in there to separate the peoples because of the great fear of what Yugoslavia was and what it represented years ago. So, you know, to stop this from ever happening again and to bring everyone together, you can say with the whole corona thing, it is a divine blessing to do this because it's exactly doing it right now. And what the GPMS is not only the monetary system, it's a simplified, lawful construct and system for humanity to thrive completely in and to not be restricted.
To add on to that, what I'd say is what's it for? Well, if we can look at what's going on in reality, everything is being shown to be fraudulent, malevolent, and full of deceit and full of manipulation. It doesn't matter where you look or what structure you look that it's supposed to be for humanity. It is proving to be against, malevolent, and causing what many would term to be genocide. We are undergoing that situation at this time. Some people call it the apocalyptic timeline, however you want to see it, the revealing of the truth. Humanity, in my mind, will have a certain amount of truth revealed to them. They already have, and that truth shows that we are not living in a humane society. As that truth is realized, and however long that takes, it can be done very, very quickly. Then humanity will choose itself to have a different system and a different structure to thrive in, as opposed to starve in. That choice then is what we're talking about now. So GPMS realistically is the freedom and absolute abundance for the human experience that humanity will choose through the malevolent structures which are imploding as we speak. So this whole time divinely is orchestrated to raise the consciousness of humanity to a point where they throw off, in my mind, their shackles, their slave bond, their indentures, and openly walk into sovereign freedom with abundance. There's the choice: maintain the old, which won't happen, or jump into the new, which is complete abundance and freedom. And that's where GPMS sits, and that's why it was created, and that's why we're pushing it, or offering it, or showing it, or spreading it. And it's not just us; it's all of the individuals that are involved with GPMS doing the same thing, that have seen the freedom and know the call of sovereignty and know who they are, as opposed to just believing that they are undervalued slaves, live and die, taxed and worked. That's not going to be the future.
Exactly. And what I wish to add, you know, any time in the past you had, let's say, civil unrest within any nation, it was very quickly quelled by the governments of that nation. And this is why nothing was ever successful, because they divided everyone into countries to be easier to manage and to control and to obliterate any resistance against the regime. And as you know, with Serbia recently is a prime example of that. And it things would continue to go that way, that nothing would ever change if it's only the national unrest within a country. Because as you see, any national or civil unrest, which is genuine unrest, it's not supported by any other government around the world, because all of the governments, if you will, they are all the same. Their intent is the same, to maintain the control. And the only way to break the control is to have the worldwide unity of the people together that breaks down all of the separation and the control that the governments have. So this is what's occurring right now. And with the GPMS, it is the direction for everyone. It's already here, the template that you need. So what is currently happening is the shift of the control from the few or the global elitists, whatever you, or the darkness, whatever you wish to call them. That control, that less than 1% will use that label, that figure. So we have already broke, I need to say, that control that 1% had, because that began to be broke in 2012. And again, the incredible evidence and supporting documentation that is out there has broken that control. And what you're witnessing now is their last desperate throw at maintaining control. But it's a frivolous, trivial throw, if you will, by the darkness. So again, the key is we have already flipped the tables on the 1%, the governments, and now all we need to do is unite all of those that are awakening as a worldwide community. Then it takes all of their control away. And that's what's occurring now. And again, with GPMS, just this one voice, it doesn't have to be to bring GPMS to inception and that freedom. It doesn't have to be everyone upon the planet. Very quickly, you reach, let's say, 20% of the planet. The rest comes instantly, is what I like to say.
Yeah, I mean, we can break it down a little bit further. What does GPMS offer? Well, let's start with just the monetary system. So it's going to fund everything. The instrument will. Is it GPMS doing it? No, it's the people. Why is it the people? Because the people have chosen to have an unlimited abundance themselves, with no control over those structures from a manipulative few. So the people take control of all the structures. Control, ownership, no. Guardianship, yes. They steward all of the systems that are beneficial, i.e. these government structures, these banking structures. The people steward those, not the governments. There are no governments anymore. There is no authority. So what the people do is they take control of their own lives and they say, we want freedom and we want abundance. Well, there's GPMS in a nutshell. It gives that unlimited funding then to every single structure for humanity on behalf of, and to administer to humanity to thrive, for them to thrive. So there is no lack, there is no poverty, there is no taxation, there is no need. You have everything you want. And then it's all about how do you share that and how do you benefit each other societally, which is what everybody wants to do. It's only the system and the control structures and the indoctrination that says we can't. All you've got to do is shift that to say, yeah, well, I want to. And then you're there. So this is the inception of a concept which visualizes humanity moving forward by humanity once humanity realizes that it is their experience that's being controlled by the few. They'll take back control of that experience completely. And that's what GPMS offers as an instrument through this transition to a higher state of existence.
Now, at this point, thank you, Lee. I'd like to go back to what I said there earlier with to break the control, with the goodwill ventures. And examples of the goodwill ventures was things like the GCR and some current, let's say, humane projects that ones are trying to take through, or like Nasera and Jasera, QFS. But again, with that, what they do is they devalue and restrict themselves with these instruments as soon as they put the value on gold. And this has been the problem, because this type of a strategy in the past was what the darkness did was to take the value from the individual and place it on something they could control, like gold. So when they controlled that and made humanity to accept it and depend upon it, then they controlled all of humanity. With GPMS, this is the liberating mechanism that breaks all of that control. It brings all of humanity together. And because money is created out of thin air, each one activates it to a responsible and disciplined degree to advance humanity forward. No one needs a bank or a government to make your money. When humanity gets together with the one voice, we just created, and nothing stops this. And this very time has been divinely set. Everything with the corona, what is happening, the remnants of the darkness are very afraid, but everything that they do, they are assisting us to create this worldwide unity, because all of the politics, all of the governments, that was all designed to control. So it's not a part of the future. All of the stringent and um, all of the stringent and complex mechanisms that they had of control, like what would you call it, Lee? You know, in their structure, like their political structures, I guess, right down to municipalities.
Hierarchical legality. Hierarchical legality. It's almost plausible deniability within their own structures. So one can blame the other and ultimately blame the human.
Yeah, in reality, you don't see with the GPMS, it's all of the people combined making the decisions. And with the GPMS, all of the skill set is there. So you per se do not need any hierarchy with it. You do not need to have someone at the top given the commands, because everyone knows in their heart what is good and what to do and the way they wish to contribute. And this is what makes it so easy. But it's the conditioning that has been, for the most part, broke of the conditioning where ones are taught that things are so complex, especially with economic structures. And to really appreciate GPMS for what it is in the lines of liberation of the old economics and the old judicial systems, you got to throw them right out the window. They no longer serve, and just keep it simple with the GPMS. So the mandate, if you will, or the direction is to get this voice created as soon as possible. Then all of you, all of us, as Lee said earlier, enjoy complete abundance, harmony, even a civilized world, if you will, if you wish to. If I can say that it is now savage, which many of you can see. And it's because it's got to go. It's destructing, and everyone realizes the savagery of the old world. And it's divinely set up and assured.
Out of chaos comes calm, and that's the beauty. We're in chaos. Some people are, some aren't. But out of that comes calm, and out of that comes a rebirth and a regrowth. The question is, what level of humanity's consciousness will grow, and that's what we're seeing as it is. What it's going to expand. It's going to expand exponentially once the lies are released. So people are still holding on to the lies as though they're truth. And that's fine. That's a necessity if you like to see it that way as we go through this period of time. But it's not going to be forever, and it's not going to be. It doesn't have to be a long time in the future. So we all know, I believe that big truths are about to drop somewhere. Don't know what quite yet. And when that does, what then? So it's looking to that point. There are no limits. There are only limits that we perceive. So we need to do this and we need to do that before we can have that. It's just not real. That's just not true. That's just a perspective. seeing through them and saying, well, what is the ultimate is more real than the perspective. So the ultimate is absolute freedom, absolute unlimitation, and absolute abundance. Well, let's just take it then. Let's just go straight to that. And this is what GPMS is. So even with the word sovereignty, which I've said a few times, sovereignty just basically means above authority. So sovereignty means nobody's telling you what to do. You're working for your own authority. I have a major belief that the vast majority of the human collective would happily do that in a heartbeat, given the opportunity. This is the opportunity.
Indeed, it's all of humanity working mutually together as well and sharing everything with it. And again, I was going to say again, it's all divinely orchestrated. So as the old is imploding, there had to be the direction for the new. And again, it's what GPMS to lift humanity out of all of that past ridiculous control. I was going to say something else, Lee, and it had kind of left my thought process, what I was going to do. What I will say, though, a little bit of it come back, is, for I speak directly to Creator. I know what the mission is, and I was one to initiate GPMS and to put that simplicity out there. However, I'm not the only one here with this mission. There is the divine element, and it includes all of you, whether you speak to Father Creator or not. It includes all of us. We're all here to do this divine mission. So your life does have a purpose, and you're actually in the most glorious time that will ever be known for humanity. And each one, you play your role by following your guidance. But from your heart, anyone that looks at GPMS that is in their heart, they know that this is it. It's what all of humanity wants. Humanity does not want to fight. You go out on the street and you ask the question to anyone, what do they want in their world? What do they want in their heart? What feels right? And everyone wants peace, harmony, and abundance for their family and all. So it's ingrained and integrated within each to have the desire is integrated into the soul to create this harmonious future. And this is what's happening now. And divinely, the old is being destructed while rapidly the new is being constructed.
Without even going into too much of the old, let's just look at a few bits. This, whatever time we're in at the moment, in the last couple of years, is a lie. The government structures are a lie. The financial structures are a lie. The education structure is a lie. The pharmaceutical structure is a lie. It doesn't matter where you look. Everything is lies and manipulation and fraud and malevolence, basically to oppress and to keep a certain few of the controllers of the narrative in play. That's not tenable. It's not going to be tenable, and it's not going to maintain itself. There is very little of it left. So even with that aspect, then it is straight into, well, what's the truth? What's real? And again, we can look at that moral and ethical. I thought I'd lost you. Moral and ethical pathway, which we know from the heart inside that it is service to yourself, service to others. It's looking after and being compassionate and empathetic and actually loving and enjoying yourself and thriving. That's what we all want, or we all want to be involved in that. How do we get there? GPMS offers it as a choice, and it's not that GPMS gives it you, it's you take it. So it's your choice. This is the beauty of it. It's not something that's being given, it's something that's being chosen, and its direction then is up to each and every individual, because it's not, there is no direction within it per se. It's just there you go, opens up. And that's, again, is the beauty of the GPMS instrument, because it doesn't limit. It is the complete unlimitation of all of that indoctrination and the complete transparency and the complete purity moving forward. So all of these lies fall apart, fall away. And once you're not concerned about lies, then you can just move and flow without all of this other stuff that you can't ask questions about and you can't live within, and you got to do this and you got to do that. No. It'll all become your choice in a free and abundant world.
Exactly. You brought up a great point I thought about the other day about the transparency of GPMS. It's fully transparent with it. Some may look at it and say there's some things not there. It's intentionally kept vague but simple for the choice. And some things that you may not think is there, they're not defined exactly because Lee has said before, it evolves. It's what everyone wants together. So we don't need to restrict exactly how it will be. We want it to be the best for everyone and all of the good things. So we know what the good things are, but everyone needs to participate and say, hey, you know, this is what we want for the future. So it's fully transparent. And again, when you look at some of these other things like FDAs, and when you get back into stringent policy, you get into complexity, you get into non-transparency, you get into concealment. And when you have concealment, that is not divine. That means something, there is no reason to hide anything. But when you start seeing things need to be protected or need to be concealed or FDA, NDA, non-disclosure agreement, this sort of stuff, you're getting into that same old loop where you are controlled and restricted. So don't get into that. None of that pertains to GPMS. It's all open and transparent, and no singular or small group is controlling it. Again, it's all of humanity. And yeah, go ahead, Lee.
Well, what do people need protecting from? Why do they need protecting from the truth? These sort of questions pop up. You know, we can't tell humanity that they're not ready for it. Well, who says?
Exactly.
And this is the problem. So again, it's others' perspectives on what's good and what's bad for humanity. No. GPMS is humanity's perspective on what's good and bad for them, without obfuscation or hiding any truths. You know, I'll tell you my truth every day of the week, as will Rick. There is nothing to be hidden, hence the simplicity behind the GPMS instrument. Its simplicity belies its overarching reach because there's so much more to it. But that's for humanity to organically create when the specialists and when the experts and when those that know that have those pieces join together and start to unite, then it becomes more rounded, if you like, more beneficial for the whole moving forward without any of that looping mechanism being able to be put back in, because it wasn't created from an intention to hide or manipulate any truth. It was created from a purity and a complete and utter transparency from the onset, from the foundation through inception and to the future. It will always be that way. It cannot be any other way. And there's the beauty of it. It will always be transparent. It cannot be anything else.
Exactly. And again, it's the simplicity, and, you know, it's nonsensical for any, again, to support creating value by anything outside, because again, we go back to that same thing. So all together, we create it together. Interesting. I had another line of thought, and that just went the direction I was going to take this.
It's okay. I mean, even with a couple of the others, and I'll reiterate quickly on this, even with a couple of the others, the RV, GCRs, Nizara, Jizaras, and other benevolent or supposedly benevolent things, they all purport that the system wasn't wrong, that there was a debt, that there's a revaluation required, or these sort of things that don't really tell any truth. They just move forward with the same system, doing the same thing in a different way, and offer maybe 20 years or a generation's worth of comfort for those starving animals, which humanity are at the moment, to say, okay, yes, thank you. there's no transparency within them. They still maintain governmental control. They don't call for equality. They still call for work. They still call for all these economics and wealth structures and disparity and stocks and shares and and all of these things that were obviously uncivilized and inhumane to remain. That's not what humanity is going to choose when they realize what's going on. So I would ask anybody that's looking down to these options and these routes to really look at them and say, what am I after? Is this beneficial for generations? Is this where humanity is going to move forward? Or am I just thinking about how much it's going to benefit me right now? And really take a look at them and say, are they transparent? Do they tell any truth? Or am I kind of making up a story whereby this will help for a minute? And it's okay, I'm not going to ask the question past that. Well, ask the question past that. Ask, are they telling the real truth? Are they transparent? Ask what you want. Ask what you want generations going forward, and then we open all this up into a transparent, complete abundance. In my mind, it is inevitable as a collective that's the way it's going to go. We just need to sort of unite to that common goal in this moment, in this now, and start to see that without all the limitations and without this benefits us quickly. No, long term, no manipulation, no looping, full transparency. That's the way I look at it.
And humanity right now does not have time. They need to make this choice right now. And this is what stops a lot of the destruction going any further. So if you need to make a choice, so now why go for anything less? Why go for a bone when you can make that full choice that's going to liberate you and your family, your children, forever.
And so it is.
And so it is, yeah. I like to say it really, in reality, there is no other choice that I've seen out there yet, but, also because it's divinely designed to be like this, that nothing can compete with GPMS, because if it could compete, then it would diminish and control it. And this is a divine instrument, the GPMS, of what all of the souls choose to create together, and nothing can. Anything else is inferior to it. GPMS is the superior instrument, and why waste time on anything less? And we can do this instantly, very quickly. As I said before, it only takes the unification and getting the word out worldwide. And it becomes so easy to create the voice, and it becomes so quick to be able to create it as everyone joins their voice to become a member, and they keep sharing it out with the ones that are ready to make a choice to support it, and just simply let them know, once we have the voice, this is a done deal. And, with the internet today as well, in reality, this GPMS should be worldwide with everyone seeing it and simply just making a choice or a vote, the same as a petition. But we're joining the voices worldwide, and with this, every children's voice counts as one vote for it as well. And you can look at GPMS as a worldwide vote, not an individual country vote. And with GPMS, you don't really per se need a representative. We're voting as a whole. So it's important, every child's signature, and I keep emphasizing that because it is so important. So our numbers, we can get them very quickly, and nothing can oppose this voice. It is imminent. It is inevitable, and I keep saying that. So as more awaken and see how the other goodwill ventures will not work because it puts them back into a loop, then many of them will join this. So you have many groups out there but it's common sense and logical for these other groups, even if they're working on other humane projects, to join the one big voice as well. And you've got this working, that then their projects are realized from complete funding, and their projects are also liberated from the control, because the number one thing upon the planet again was who controls the financial world that's there, that has humanity dependent upon them, and who controls the internet, the information. The media, the mainstream media, they're being broken down as we speak. So you don't really have any real contenders. The only contender that humanity has is their self, by not making the choice. They are slowing it down and procrastinating and prolonging it. It's simple. Go on the website. One of the best places to go is the old versus the new. And the old is the old society, what you have. GPMS is the new. And just look down there, and it becomes very simple that it's the only choice that you'll ever have to make in your life, that completely frees you, gives you abundance. It frees your children. It frees every generation to come. It's again, it's so simple, and really there is no other choice but GPMS. It's the only way.
Just to add, or just to edit, edit something Rick said.
Yes.
No child. We don't need any child signature. It's consent or authority before that gets picked up. The signature word, I know, has got some detractors. It's not. It's about consent. It's about a vote. It's about a choice. So just to throw that one in for those that may pick up that word. Nothing more than that. And it's not one of the weird things is it's come to my attention that trying to sell humanity freedom is a difficult thing. And the weird thing is, it's not trying to sell it, it's just trying to offer it as a choice. There you go. But it comes across as a sell. It's not. Go on, have a little look, see what you think, and unbutton your mind and feel through your heart and feel that moral and ethical. What is this? What does this offer? And then create a vote, a choice. Do you fancy it or not? If you understand it deeper, then you get bigger picture. And as you do see this, if you feel that you've got a part of the solution, step forward, be part of it. This is the beauty of it. It's so organic that we'll listen to anybody, and we'll. The thing about anything that could be superior to GPMS is if it was, we'd import it. It would be in GPMS. So that's the beauty of it. It's not like, we can't do that because we got to do this. No. If it's a good idea, we'll bring it in. This is the beauty. This is the organic creation. This is what GPMS is: an organic creation by everybody for everybody, and it's your choice. It's your vote. It's how much you want to be involved. It doesn't matter. If you do, great. If you don't, so be it. It's still going to happen. Or something along its lines. In my mind, it's going to be GPMS. It's going to happen. It is inevitable. It's just how long this takes. And the quicker we all get on board and start to unify, the quicker it comes to inception. Once that energetic voice is created, nothing stops it. There is no government structures. There is nothing left on this plane that could say no. So it's just about see it, let go of the limitations, and just see it as a new experience.
Indeed. I see Amina has their hand up, and I'll let you in one moment. You know, what I wish to say with GPMS, as we said, it's all volunteers, all of us coming together to keep sharing the word of GPMS worldwide. It costs no one to look at this. No one has to pay for anything. It is all it costs you. I could go further on this, and I will. All it costs you is a half an hour or an hour of your time just to sit down and look at how it actually frees you from making from the old world at making the choice. Now, what does it cost you? It costs you many things. And the things that it does cost you is that what you will lose. So if you look at cost as what you will lose all of the restrictions. It's one thing to put them all in. You will lose lack because you're gaining abundance. You'll lose all of taxes and all of the illusionary debt because there is none of that with this. So all of the things you are losing are all of the negative bad things, and there is nothing but gain with this. So with that, I'll see what Amina wishes to ask. And if it resonates with you at this point, Lee, I believe we'll just open up for some questions.
Perfect.
Okay.
Hi, Amina.
Okay, just unmuting Amina. Go ahead. You may need to unmute your own microphone, Amina.
Thank you, Rick. I've just done that. And hi, Lee, again. And hi, Rick. So, as you know, Rick, I had a dialogue with Lee, which we recorded. And in some of the background to having that dialogue, correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, but you said that Rick had said there's something like 2 million ascended masters or 2 million awakened people at a certain level. Am I right? Or have I got that wrong?
4.5.
Oh, 4.5 million. So as I was listening to you talk, Rick, I was thinking about the old system, and the old system is very much about social proof. So people get on board when they have enough social proof. And that social proof would be, well, who else is signing up to this, for example? Yeah. So given we have 4 million ascended masters on this earth, yeah, and this is the one true voice of GPMS, is there a way that that alignment can happen in that divine space to accelerate the process?
Hi, Amina. I'd like for a little bit of clarification. What I wish to say is upon the planet, there is over 4 million ascended masters that are awakened to the degree of the ascended master aspect. There is no limitation on that. What I wish to say, there is actually many more of that are now going through the process of empowerment, which would bring them up to the level of ascended master, if you will. For in fact, as you're knowing on the deeper esoteric and divine levels, that even within the children, what you may call the star seeds, they are actually ascended masters as well, and advanced souls. So the number is not fixed, if you will. And as we continuously raise in vibration in this reality, more and more are becoming empowered with their divine designation. So I just had wished to put some clarity into that. Now your question is, what should be occurring, Amina? And it is beginning to set up. Is that, yeah, we're beginning to see a little bit.
Amina, is there any chance of just muting your mic? Because there's a little bit of feedback coming through that doesn't sound great. Beautiful. Sorry, brother.
Yeah. So with that, I don't know, Lee, if I fully answered her question because I got on that clarity.
No. Can there be anything done to the higher consciousness ones on an energetic value to unite? Was the question.
Yeah, well, what occurs as we're doing, we were seeing what you would call a reluctance. We have reached out, Amina, to certain what are light leaders, but for whatever divine reasons, because everything is on divine timing, even though they're light leaders and are part of this, they were kind of separated yet. And one of the reasons why that occurs also is because everything is interconnected divinely with everything that's occurring. And when you see this sometimes, it means that perhaps some other negative events have got to occur to activate them into higher roles. And one of the important parts of this is, for one, embracing their divine good ego, being able to say that they are divine. And with that, that increases and brings down their divine authority in this now. And when that occurs, it also empowers these light leaders, if you will, more. And also comes the clarity that very simply they know all we need to do upon the planet to get the mission done for humanity is unite. And with that, as I'm saying, right at this time, there is over 4 million of these type leaders, but yet a lot of them are scattered and just need that one more little bit of information that it takes unity and that GPMS is here and get aligned with it.
If there was anything, I think we've knocked on those doors kind of a lot on the energetic and the physical to align, but it's on divine timing.
It is. So we just keep going forward with it. We keep shining our light, if you will. And at the opportune divine times, we keep pushing GPMS out there. We have taken more of a injecting it down a little bit lower into some of the consciousness levels, because when it does go there, it does have a divine function at uplifting and raising the fear element by giving one's a choice. So there are ones that can see it. And then what that does, it empowers them as well. And they rapidly begin their journey with joining with this. And also they began to receive more of the reason why they are on the planet. Yes, they have a purpose and more of their divine role on an individual basis to the role that they play in this. Did I answer your question, Amina?
Yeah, you did, Rick. I think in summary, it's really about divine timing. And that's what you're saying is paramount over the, the model of GPMS itself. So to get the buy-in from other light leaders is something that is beyond our control.
To a certain degree, I'd answer that as yes, but I'd also answer it that the collective choice can certainly change that. So yes, it's on divine timing, but it's also the collective choice. So the more that realize the divinity, the quicker that the divine leaders and the light leaders and the higher consciousness ones then see this. So it's this sort of balancing game as we're going through this, to my mind.
Yeah. So if I may, so what I wish to say, we have these light leaders out there. They're doing their divine role now at breaking down, the old system and fighting, if you will, to break it down and to create more awareness, which is divinely perfect, what they're supposed to be doing. However, we had reached the time now that they also need to know the absolute solution is here, so that also to transition things very much more quickly, that these light leaders are informed of GPMS, that this is the full freedom, so that they can begin to purvey it to whatever followers or community they have, and say, hey guys, this is why we're fighting the old, we're keeping it at bay while the rest awaken. But at the same time, we all need to get united at one, as one up here. And this is what changes everything upon the planet, the individual humanoid choice to join that. So but it is time right now that we need to make these prestigious, if you will, leaders, light leaders, which they are. We need to make it known to them that the absolute ultimate solution is here, and to give that also to all that are following them with it. And immediately, as you know, once there is this great reality given to them, not only a great hope, it raises their vibration because they have direction, and it helps to break their confusion. If they're sitting thinking, what am I going to do? How are we going to get out of this? You know, if they're in great despair, but if they're shown GPMS, this is where we're going, and we just got to unite. They have a definite direction. And again, GPMS is so simple that they only need to make a choice.
I still think that quite a few are still, what they've done is they've seen a lot of problems. They've seen a lot of the things that are going on, and are still transferring that information to others, hence fighting the old or protesting the old, etc., etc. And in their thought processes at this point, there's Jazara and Nizara, these savior tools, which they don't put that much into because they're so busy doing this. That's not a problem because they're actually transferring all the information and they're doing what they should do divinely. But these aren't solutions. So rather than, you know, they're waiting on that solution because they know this is the problem and this is going to fold and that will come in then. No, this is the option then. So it's uniting at that level. It's forgetting about the Jazara and Nizara as these things that are going to happen. The governments are going to turn around and be good, and the military is going to come in and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And whilst they're protesting and whilst they're disseminating the information about all the rest of the stuff that's going on to their followers, uniting to the followers' solution, not what somebody else has said may be the solution afterwards. So this is that point about where GPMS is, and that raising of the roof, if you like, from an instrument that's going to be given by a government to an instrument that's going to be taken and chosen by the people. Is that somewhere near answer you, Amina?
Yeah, thank you. I was staying switched off because I didn't want to bring the interference in. But I think Lee and Rick, there's definitely something that we can do through the Free Thinkers Hub. I've obviously posted the podcast on that, but I think some kind of interactive, whether it's a stream or a webinar or something, that we can get through LinkedIn, we can get through Free Thinkers Hub. So I'd be very interested in having a further, you know, communication about that, conversation about that, how that, you know, how you'd like to run that and to talk about GPMS.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amina. Yes, that would be great. And, you know, anyone listening, contact Lee, many, there's others that we have in the group, GPMS representative group, if you will, volunteers. So it's not only Lee and I, we have a fantastic feminine, divine feminine component that are getting prepared for interviews and spreading the word and explaining it publicly as well. So it's just not I and Lee here. There's many, and of course anyone. So yeah, we're all open. So
We'll pick up on that. We'll pick up on that moving forward, Amina, and we'll arrange something to get that going.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you, Amina.
Thank you.
We have Helen, I believe, has a question. I'll mute you, Amina, and Araceli has a question. Okay, you're on, Araceli, and just got to unmute your microphone so you can ask a question or speak.
Okay, so as I've been sitting here listening this morning, I'm definitely picking up on how very much the GPMS is all about standing in our sovereignty, and how this is basically what we all really need to do. This is showing the whole world that the whole world stands in their sovereignty, to unite as one under GPMS. So I hear this very strongly today as we've been going through the conversation. So yes, this is something that I will be putting on my page as well, is that this is to do with actually taking the stand and showing that you're taking the stand. Yeah, that was basically it, what I wanted to say.
I'll do. And that's beautiful. Yeah. Taking a stand, the stand, a stand is great. However people want to see it and perceive it. Uniting
Yes.
under GPMS. Well, I would choose different words, maybe. Uniting for a collective future of freedom and abundance through the instrument that is GPMS. And it could be anything else, depending on what humanity chooses it to be when it does come to inception. So it's uniting towards a common goal. And the GPMS model is a simplistic common goal. It's a simple tool, it's a simple instrument to unite towards or to unite for a freedom for all.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. I wish to add, yes, everyone, you have the choice to submit to the control, wear a mask, get forced to have a vaccine or what have you, or you can stand in your authority, as you're saying. And by doing that, in reality, the worldwide, it is the majority that knew that if they knew right now of GPMS, this choice, that the majority would choose it right away. And one of the only material restrictions with it is that with GPMS, that we need to get it out on all channels, showing everyone of the choice. But it's the sovereignty. And once one makes that choice, then you join together. The same as with your protests, they are making the first choice at not to comply. They're banding together in, all countries. But what's occurring is that they need to be united in a united network worldwide as one voice. And again, GPMS is the venue to unite that voice, but at the same time, it's to create the new reality. But it's each one, yes, needs to make a choice. What do you support? Wearing the mask, being restricted, and what have you? Or do you support the full freedom with the majority and become part of that? So it is a liberating instrument as well. The voice right now, if you were to look on the website, you might say it's only 11,600. But with that, you need to look at the individuals that are part of that. And you have very powerful co-creators that, let's say if you have a co-creator that's not awake yet, you have a co-creator that is awake. Well, their energetic impact upon reality is many times more than one not awake. And some of you, it resonates with you with the old saying that, an enlightened energetic one can affect a million. If you do the quick math on that, right at this time, we are affecting the majority. Lee, you have something to say with that?
No.
Okay, great. So, even though
A bit like you, I lost the train of thought.
Yeah, even though the numbers may seem small yet at any moment, like with GPMS, it's going viral. And I know, Lee, you can attest as a result of our last broadcast and the last week, there are many things setting up for this to go viral. So it's going to happen at any point. And also, when you look at the rate of destruction and fear by the governments, every time that gets more restrictive, GPMS grows bigger because proportionately, or what's the word? They're in direct correlation. So as one implodes, the other gets bigger, which is the divine entity GPMS. So
Exponentially.
yeah. Yeah, it's not a direct proportion, I would say, but so
Energetically, exponentially is incredibly fast compared to the physical reality as well. So there's a lot we can add into it, but it's outside of scopes and stuff. But it's all good. I mean, the choice between a fake diaper on your face and a fake scientific, fake proof and fake authority, all of these things, as opposed to your own truth. Rick's used the words lots of times, no brainer. I don't necessarily like to use that necessarily, but it's a no brainer.
Yeah, I need to say I don't like using that term because it's like it's demeaning, but
It gets the point across.
To be blunt with it, yes, it is. And I say, well, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, to make this choice. So we have Lean wishes to speak. I'll unmute you, Lean, and unmute your own microphone and go ahead. You'll need to unmute. There you go.
Hello. There you go.
Hi,
Hi,
Lean.
Rick. Hi,
Hiya.
Lee. Hi, Rick.
Hiya.
Good to be here. Actually, I recently signed up and I've gave my consent to GPMS. So it feels really great to be part of that movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very thankful, very grateful for this. Actually, we heard that there's going to be a divine government that is going to take over, as announced by Yeshua. So my question is, what is the status of the GPMS in the agenda of this divine government? Or are we talking about the same thing here?
I'd like to say, yes, we are talking about the same thing. However, you had said something, Lean, that you gave your consent to GPMS. What we wish to say is perhaps that you're just in agreement support. What is the better terminology? Because the way you said that, it's like you're giving away your consent, and you're not doing that. You're actually creating your much higher consent. What would be the better choice of words for that, Lee?
I chose freedom.
I chose freedom to be self-sovereign, of course.
I chose sovereignty.
Self-sovereignty, yeah.
So
that's what we are after.
But yeah, that's a technicality. The divine government, I'd question the wording straight away. Govern meant govern mind. Is that what we choose as a sovereign individual, a governing system to govern?
Not at all.
No. So I would question the, I'm not going to, a divine administration,
right.
A divine oversight, a higher consciousness administration for each cultural and societal need, one world divine government. And so again, I'm not going to talk on an energetic, I'll leave that to Rick on that value. I would just say to you, I would question those words and
because
ask
that's what
yourself
I've
what they
heard
mean.
from what I've heard from different groups, they're like waiting for a divine intervention or something. So the term divine government came from from this particular mindset, we'll be like it's divine, it's self-sovereignty, of course, but there will be a divine administration, so to speak.
Yeah, but that again,
right.
divine intervention is from internally, it's not from external. So if we wanted to see it as a divine intervention, then that's from the energetic input and the consciousness of the individual rising to a level of sovereignty and saying, no, this is no good, this is. Again, so people waiting for a divine intervention, it's happening, but it's happening on an internal basis.
Correct.
Of course, we're all taught to look for it externally, like it's going to be this, that, and the other. And anybody that's purporting that, there's going to, I'm not going to talk about what possibly could and couldn't happen. But I am going to say, waiting for a divine intervention on the external is maybe missing the point.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel, right?
May I, Lean?
Yes.
What we're saying, it's already occurring. There has been divine intervention, and it's the perspective that you have to look at it. Yes, it is, let's say, led by Jeshua as being one, and perhaps Buddha, but it's already occurring. But if you look at what Yeshua, or Jesus, if you will, what it represents is the Christ consciousness. And this is what Lee is saying. We all have this spark of creator within us. So it is occurring now. There has been the divine intervention upon the planet since 2012 linear time, more so, to bring all of this to fruition. But it's not one. It's not like it was before. Everyone is endowed with the Christos spark, if you will, and the monotheistic knowing that there is one creator, no matter what religion, what belief it is. And this is what's occurring. And yes, they are. So it's a divine administration is what it is. So you have the Christ consciousness here that is what everyone is awakening into in different levels. And this is it. This is the divine administration that everyone contributes into GPMS with it. So because we have the entire ingenious, brilliant skill set upon the planet to run GPMS instantly and efficiently. So it takes all. So we are it. It is the better way to look at it. Anyone awakened is the Christ within. You are a spark of God. So I suggest to look at it, that way. And that is also what the Great Awakening is. You can say, yes, that Jesus is upon the planet, Buddha, but they're not the only ones. It's within all. Because in actuality, everyone is of God and everyone is Christ that is awakened, or whatever they believe in that is directly connected to Prime Creator. It's yeah. So if
Christ
that
consciousness. Logos.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I resonate, Rick. Thank you.
Christaline.
Any other questions? So we're open for any questions. Or okay, Michael of Host has wishes to speak. Okay, Mike, I unmuted you. You're ready to go.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Yes, Rick. It's just a quick question. For those light workers who, like me, especially for the last 2-3 weeks in particular, I have been feeling something like a burnt out transistor, with like some of the waves of energy that have been occurring, and obviously you've got the natural energies, but then you've got the combined energies of the effects of people's emotions as they react to events that are going on in the world. I've gone to great lengths to completely disconnect myself from anything beast system. I don't watch television. I don't even check out the news I try to avoid anything that is pre-modeled and designed to distract. But I know when something is happening because of the intensity of the shifts of energy. I was wondering if you could speak to sort of any techniques you feel in this particular time with the kinds of frequencies that are coming through could best benefit light workers in terms of sort of buffering themselves, shielding themselves, creating greater efficiencies of transmutation of that energy in ways that don't leave you feeling like a burnt out transistor, if you follow my meaning.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, and we'd like to keep it mostly specific to GPMS, but of course, this is connected as with everything transpiring upon the planet. Just by one knowing that GPMS exists and that it is the choice, that's where we're going, meaning that there is a definite direction for the future. Everything is not in disorder and confusion. It's just one's getting transitioning to this future. And part of this, it plays the big role is, of course, the energy. So by one's, feeling, being empathic and feeling the overall energetic atmosphere of the planet, many are feeling the density. It's not within. You have done your work, you have cleared yourself of that, and when you begin to feeling it, it's not yours, that it's coming from the collective or from the masses. I should not say from the awakened collective. It's coming more so from the awakening ones and the masses that are yet to awaken. With that, with everyone, you've been given your own guidance, your techniques and modalities and knowledge at keeping your vibration and your energy to the highest. And of course, the easiest ways of transmuting is to go into the love, to go into the silence, shut off the chatter, and go to the love and the gratitude. And one of the strongest ways to transmute the density is to keep voicing, speaking the love outward from your heart. And what you will find, it will uplift you. So if you have a partner or your children, say out loud, I love you, and say that, and say it several times. And also, the gratitude is so important. So when you believe and know that Creator is real and that you are part of that and you are divine, you express your gratitude and also ask for uplifting assistance if you need it. But again, during this transitioning, what is occurring, it's with the logical mind to the Christ mind as well. And one of the best things to do is to look at everything positive. If a negative thing occurs, it occurs for a positive reason. So don't draw conclusions on any one dot. Know that it's happening to prevent or to create the positive. For example, one of the old things in math, two negatives make a positive. That's a good concept or an analogy to have so that you don't get focused on negative things or negative energy. Now, in times when you're feeling, for anyone, when you're feeling overcapacitated by dense energies, there is a lot occurring at this time. Physical vessels are being upgraded, so there are times when ones must be very still, lay down, rest when you can. Don't move if you're feeling this dense energy outside. I suggest don't go outside. You need to maintain that energy. Also, very quickly, when you're around in environments where let's say your natural electrical rhythm could get chaotic and let's say not firing correctly, and that would occur especially if you're out around many others that could have their electrical field short circuiting. Well, what you do, a simple thing, when you come back home, is right on the bottom of your sternum, right here, you tap on that with the highest voice, ah, as you go. And you do that for about a minute and a half, whatever you feel you need to do. And what it does, it quickly aligns your electrical field and it begins to raise your vibration. Now, I don't want to go too much in this. There are other ways and teachings I have on Real Angels page, I believe, on uh, Facebook, also on the Awakening Journals, where some of the teachings are in there, the newer teachings to assist ones with self-empowerment and raising the vibration, and also importantly, the foods. So I won't go any further on that. We like to keep this on GPMS. Thank you.
No, thank you. That was great. Exactly what I was looking for. And just a quick question on the GPMS. More of a comment, really. Is I sort of see where the wood hits people when they.
You're very quiet, Mike. We can barely hear you, brother.
Oh, sorry. Hang on a second. Let me change. There we go. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay, doke. Yeah. So yeah, I'm starting to see where the rub is hitting. Well, I do see where the rub is hitting people when it comes to trying when people start to try and explain the concept of GPMS, and it hits up against the initial thing that I think a lot of people it hits is the pragmatisms and the practicalities of it because of so many preset conditionings that's going on, and that's one of the things that needs to be overcome is the sort of the widening of the conceptual horizon that people are able to just conceive of, the conceptual models that people are able to entertain. For me, it was set in stone. One of my earliest memories, I think it's like my second or third earliest memory. One of the businesses that my mother and father owned at that time in Spain, on the coast of Spain, it was a bar / disco at night. And there was like a glass door that separated the eating and bar area from the disco area. It was during the day, so the disco area was closed off and all darkened. And my mother and father were having an argument, and I remember as this 3 years old, I must have been maybe 4, and walking up to that door and seeing my mother and father arguing, and they were pushing this wad of paper between them backwards and forwards. And to this day, I remember just focusing on that bundle of paper and thinking that whatever this is, it's causing the two people, which at the time, I mean, when you're that age, your mother and father are God. I mean, they are the gods of the world, and they're everything to you. They're the center of the universe, and these two beings who you love the most and should be focused on loving each other and you are screaming in each other's faces because of this paper stuff. So for me, that understanding was set at a very, very early date and a day, and so the sort of frequency and understanding required to and the openness and the desire to be able to seek something which a lot of people would call radical and not turn away from it just because it's called radical, and to be able to intellectually explore it at the very least, to ask questions, to ask the question, is it possible? And but there I think the point I'm speaking to, and I'd like you to speak to, is that there's this trick to priming somebody to not not on an intellectual level per se, but on a sort of quasi emotional, energetic, conceptual level. Just if you see what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I do. And the beauty of GPMS is it doesn't use any coercive measures. So tricks and things like this, we're not going to speak to. We're just going to speak past the problems. So the problems that you're raising are perspective and limitations through the indoctrination process and through what we would call life. There's no trick to the GPMS instrument in showing people that there is more to life than what they believe and what their perceptive limitations are. That's the divine intervention that will occur through the Christ consciousness on the inside as these horrific, inhumane thought processes and limiting belief systems are released. So on an individual level, we can speak to deception, we can speak to using different methods to break down emotional barriers or conceptual barriers, blah, blah, blah. But for GPMS itself and the level that it's at, it would never do that. It can't, because that would be deemed as non-transparent, if you like. So what I would say, yes, this is the beauty of the millions out there that will be standing in their sovereignty and disseminating the information on GPMS, is that from their perspectives, they can do whatever they want and however they feel to disseminate that information in whatever way they feel. The instrument itself would never do that itself, because it doesn't need to explain itself.
Indeed. May I add, so, with the scenario or what you shared, what actually occurred, the papers represent the complexity and the control of the old system and how it created disharmony. So if you wish to compare GPMS to the old, those pile of papers do not exist, and your mother and your dad is laughing with bliss because there is none of that weight from the old system. And perhaps it was debt or what have you, but complicated systems and paperwork like that does not exist with the new system. So it's a liberation from that old world. And again, we focus on the most liberated solution for humanity. When you have a free-flowing system, there does not need to be any record-keeping, accounting, binding contracts written on paper with what the legal nonsense. None of that exists in this world. Everyone is liberated from that, and everyone needs to know that all of these complex things of the past was created to exactly do what you witnessed, Mike, to cause stress, to cause anxiety, to cause animosity. And even it goes right into the courts, with especially with their divorce courts, to create animosity between two, and, the lawyer actually winning the game, walking away with half of or more what everyone had sometimes. It's preposterous. And this is the old complicated system that we're all joining together to know we don't want that no more. It's not needed, and to eradicate it and just keep simple harmony. With that, I see Emily wishes to speak.
Excellent point, though, Mike, on the memory, the thought process behind that memory. I would suggest that many, very high percentage of the human collective have experienced that memory. So it's exactly, it's an excellent point on bringing that up. We've all felt that pressure, we've all felt that, and this moves straight past all of that.
Thank you, and thank you for your responses.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mike. I'll mute you, Mike, for now, and Emily, I guess, is up here at top, wishes to speak. And okay, Emily, I have you unmuted. Go ahead.
There we go. Hey,
Hello,
everybody. So good to join you guys again. I just want to say thank you for bringing up, that memory that you had, because I want to share just really quick an experience I had just recently, the last few days. You know, I don't have any grandchildren yet that have came to Earth. I have one that'll be here in May, but I have children that call me May May. You know, I'm the May May. They know me as May May. And a few days ago, I was sitting in the living room and I was crying, you know, doing what I do. And the little girl that was at the house, she came over and she said, May May, why are you crying? And I told her, you know, that I could feel the stress of people and how people are always stressed out about money. And she's she's 4 years old, 5 years old, and she's just listening to me and paying so much deep intent on what I'm saying. And I told her that
You went quiet, Emily. Oh, we've lost you, Emily. We've lost your sound.
and suddenly this ball of emotion. What?
We lost you for
Can you hear
about 30 seconds. Yeah, we can now. We lost you. The little girl was listening intently.
You can't hear me?
No, we can now, but we lost you at the little girl was listening intently.
Okay. That was it? You haven't heard anything else?
No, you were
Okay, so she
explaining
was
the
listening
money.
very intently.
That's it.
Okay, so suddenly this sweet innocent child is sitting in my lap listening to me explain to her who's printing the money and who's controlling the money and why her mom is stressed out over money. And her little eyebrows start squinching, and all of a sudden I feel this ball of emotion come up out of her, and she starts crying. She says, yeah, my mom's always stressed out about money. So I feel the emotions of our children. Our children are highly aware of what our parents are stressed out about, what their parents struggle with. They fully know. And she started crying, and then we held each other, and she told me how much she loved me, and how when her mom showed up, she handed her mom the business card and she said, Mama, you don't ever have to be stressed out about money again. She left bright and hopeful. And I really just feel the more we can reiterate to our children how important this is, that this is for them, and even to the people of the world that don't quite understand it, it's like the children have a clearer, more clear awareness than the adults do. And I don't know how to specifically reach out to the children on a huge level, but I really think that should be a bigger effort to reach out to the children, because the children know.
Absolutely. May I say, you know, the innocence of the child is not fully lost until they've been indoctrinated to such a degree and formatted to fit the old society. And having said that, it is the innocence of the children that know, you know, that everything is so nonsense with the old world. And one of the beautiful things is sitting at a table um, with a father and his two children, Femke and I, and his 14, I believe it was his 14-year-old brought up, why can't we vote? You know, which, yeah, and they can with GPMS, but I mean, it was something they didn't have a say in the future, the children. And then the young boy, about 7, he asked, you know, why do we have to pay to have a house? His father perhaps had mortgage or taxes, you know, that was part of the discussion. And but for the children, it's nonsense, really, you know, with their innocence, they really know. And with this, as you know, Emily, with GPMS, the children play an important role in this. And we began in the past to interview some children on this, and divinely that was kind of put to the wayside. But what I can share is that we have one now again that is working on this with the children, and letting the children speak about it as well, to even show how nonsensical the old thing is, and the children don't want a world like that. That's for sure.
Thank you, Emily. I'm reminded of something I was watching the other night, and it was I'm not going to go into too much detail, but effectively a character in a show looking back to her childhood and what her dad had been doing promiscuously, etc., and talking to it from the adult, and just dismissing it all as if it's just this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And then she was made to see it from the child's aspect. And the whole storyline changed, because now we weren't projecting it was just that, it's just life, it's just okay, it's just what we had to go through. Now we were seeing it from the purity of the innocence of the child and how clear that was. And we forget that as adults, because we've had to go through whatever to get to where we are at this point. We forget that we dismissed so much, we let go of so much, and we allowed so much immorality and unethical behavior to happen because it's life. It's not, and the child would never choose that. And this is the beauty of the innocence of the child, and seeing through all that and just gone. There is no limitation there. Let's go back to that a little bit, eh?
Indeed. So if you're finished, Emily, I see Haricella. You'll tell me how to pronounce that, Helen, in the future, please. If you're finished, Emily, Helen has her hand up.
Yes, please go ahead, Helen. Thank you for sharing space.
Thank you. Okay, Helen, you can go ahead.
Hi again. I just wanted to say this can be for Michael, for Emily, and the children also, that I can't speak highly enough of Steve Noble on YouTube. He dedicated his life to creating high vibrations for every one of us divine people to stay up in the higher vibrations, and that this can also help the children as well. So I just that's all I really wanted to say is Steve Noble, Nobel, on YouTube. He has hundreds and hundreds of upgrading and high vibration transmissions available.
Thank you, Helen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Helen. What I wish to say at this time, if there is no other GPMS specific questions or comments, what I will do is stop recording so it doesn't make this long. And if everyone wishes to stay for a bit, then we can talk a little bit more about the esoteric, spiritual, metaphysics, or what have you. So any more GPMS specific comments or questions or anything anyone wishes to add at this time? Okay, sounds like it's silent. So everyone just stay there, and I am going to press a couple buttons. Oh, maybe I'll wait, Lee. I see we're on here for 1 minute, 42 seconds and 44, or 1 hour, 42 minutes and 44 seconds. But
well, that's doing it. We can't. We did it last time organically. This time we're waiting.
Well, I'm just wondering, if I should. The last time it was 1:44 minutes. It's great. Yeah. So this time intentionally, I'll stop the recording. And I thank everyone for joining, and please share this out. with everyone you can. The quicker we get this out, the quicker we do it for humanity, and everyone plays a role, and everyone's voice counts with this. So
thank you all, by the way. Thank everybody here. Thank everybody everywhere. Love you all. My love to you all. Love and light to you all.
love and light and gratitude to everyone. And 8, 7, 6, 5, countdown to 144. Good. We went over a little bit into the new world, but